Hey, what's up, mountain folks? It's me, VP. As promised, I wanted to go over I don't know if it's short range. We'll go mid range weather. I'll call it a weather webcast. Why not, right? I'd like the records to show that I'm not a licensed meteorologist, but I am a weather man, meaning I've been studying weather since I was probably about 10 years old, and all I do is sit here and study weather models for the mountain areas and any areas that are going to be affected by major weather events, anything from extreme heat waves to snowstorms to floods to mudslides and etc., and so on and so forth, and what have you. So this will be pretty quick. This isn't going to be a long a long ordeal here. So let's just get into it real quick. So looking into the near future, we're looking at probably the next 7 to 14 days is as far as that we'll be able to see. After about 7 days, as you guys know, the forecast gets a little murky. So first we'll start with what is going on in the atmosphere today. So here right now, this is actually real-time satellite imagery provided to you straight from NOAA. It shows all these storm systems, low pressure systems, high pressure systems, cold fronts, warm fronts, so on and so forth, and what have you. Here's our little knot storm that's going to hit us here tomorrow. It's not really going to produce anything but some cold air, maybe a little, maybe some mist here and there, maybe a little bit of snow at the higher elevations. We'll get into the discussion here in just a second on what to expect, and then we'll look at the actual weather models that I study to come up with what I think is going to happen. So anyway, we have this is again real time. Our little low pressure system. This is going to move in overnight. Tomorrow it'll be kind of cloudy, kind of misty, and then we actually have a second storm that's going to drop in, and we're going to take a look at that in some of the other models here in just a second. So real quick, we're going to take a look at the weather discussion. So the weather discussion you can find on the National Weather Service weather page. And we'll go look at the forecast when we're done with this. So real quick, the synopsis: cooler and cloudier pattern is expected through much of the next week. Periods of gusty westerly winds expected Saturday through Monday, along with periods of light to locally moderate precipitation. Snow levels will fall to near 6,000 feet Saturday morning and will fall to 4,000 to 4,500 feet by Monday morning. Additional chances of precipitation are expected by Wednesday. The detailed discussion, this is kind of, this is the nitty gritty. It's not too long. So this weather discussion is for extreme southwestern California, including San Diego, western Riverside, southwestern and San Bernardino counties. A weakening incoming low pressure system. So that's the small storm the knot storm that's going to hit us here on. I want to make sure I'm not hitting my microphone here. I call it the knot storm because it'll be really, really weak. That's coming in. It's expected to bring cooler, windier, and wetter conditions for late tonight and Saturday. The initial system will quickly be followed by an additional system Sunday night into Monday, which will bring cooler, cloudier, windier, wetter conditions. Coastal low clouds and fog will become more widespread this afternoon, reaching the coastal mountain slopes by early Saturday morning. Yes, that's tomorrow. It will be cold. For tonight into Saturday morning, periods of mostly light showers are expected in and west of the mountains. Snow levels will lower to around 6,000 feet. Overall rainfall totals are expected to be about a tenth of an inch or less for the coast and valleys, and less than a quarter of an inch on the coastal mountain slopes. Snowfall totals will be an inch or less. There will be stronger and gusty winds for the mountains and deserts Saturday. The strongest winds are expected for the mountains and deserts in Riverside and San Diego County, with a stronger wind gust on the desert slopes of the mountains and below the San Gorgonio passes, up to 55 to 65 mile per hour. Next, the next Pacific low pressure system will move to near the California coast on Sunday and through Southern California on Monday. The most likely time for the widespread precipitation across southwestern California is Sunday night into Monday. Forecast rainfall rates for Sunday night into Monday per our high resolution WRF model range are 1/15 of an inch to a quarter of an inch, and with higher rates in the mountains as usual. Rainfall and liquid elevation above the snow level could range from 10th of an inch to a 30th of an inch near the coast. Locally higher eastern valleys, blah, 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 blah. And the mountains rainfall Totals will be a quarter inch to 3/4 of an inch, with total amounts of an inch. And BM chances for 1%, or I'm sorry, 1 inch or more of rainfall are around 20 to 30% around the coastal slopes of the mountains. So that's like pretty much that's pretty much the western side of the mountains and the southwestern facing slopes. The snow will be 6,000 to 6,500 feet Sunday afternoon, a lower to 4,000 to 4,500 feet by Monday. There could be an inch of snowfall as low as 4,500 feet, with 3 to 5 inches above 5,500 feet. All right, so let's take a look at the fun stuff. So some of the stuff that we'll actually go back real quick. Actually, we'll look at that last. This is our forecast for Lake Arrowhead, but let's see what happens that is going to take us there. So I generally start with the GSF model. Luckily, it hasn't reran in the near future. So this model, when it gets rerun a couple times, every several hours, the models rerun themselves. So these models could actually show me something completely awesome right now, but 3 hours from now, when they rerun the model systems, it could show me something completely different. We're going to take a look at we're just going to take a look at the two main models that you see that they use on, what you generally see on the news stations when you're watching the evening news. They use they'll take a look at the GFS models or the ECMWF, which are the European models. They kind of give you a good long range forecast. So make sure my microphone isn't falling off. We're just going to kind of go through here. So here's my little mouse cursor, right here. So here's our little storm system right here, little low pressure system off the coast that's going to move in with us tomorrow. It's not going to produce much. It's going to be pretty weak. So as we move through, and here's our date. We can keep an eye on this up here. This is Saturday, March 1st is when this starts at midnight, is what we're looking at. So we're going to move through the systems. So we're going to keep an eye on this system right here, and then we're also going to keep an eye on what's going on up here, because this is where our bigger storms are going to start to come from later on next week and into the following week, maybe. So there's our storm. It just kind of falls apart as it hits us. It's not really going to produce much moisture. So here's the next low. This is going to drop in. It's just much colder as it's coming from a more northerly direction than a more Pacific tropical direction. If I go back, you'll see it pulls back up in closer into the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to drop down, hit the coast, and it's going to sweep down the coastline. So that's generally when we're going to get much colder temperatures and lower snow levels under that. As you can see, that's here Monday the 3rd, when it drops through, makes its way, and moves on. Then, as we get into later in the week, we see another storm system down here. This little guy is going to make its way in here. It's not going to make another huge impact. It will bring a little bit more moisture, a little bit heavier moisture, but overall it'll be a quick moving system and it'll be out. Now, the difference between the green and the blue, in case you don't know, blue is snow, green is rain. And we'll take a closer look at that in just a second. And then this system is going to move through. We're going to get a quick break over the weekend. And then next Sunday, here comes the bigger guy. This guy is going to drop down into off the southern coasts before it makes its way in. So watch where it comes from. It's coming pretty deep from the Pacific Northwest, and it's a pretty big system. So as it drops down, you'll start to see it incoming. It looks like it starts to gain a little bit of strength here in the northern coast of California and into Southern California, and then it kind of starts to break apart as it makes landfall, and then it's going to move in through our southern region, and then it will be out by March 12th. Now, this is the one that we're kind of keeping an eye on. So outside of the 7-day range, things get really, really murky. These models start to change more and more on a several hourly basis. The different models start to disagree with each other. One model will show the storm making a hard push from the north down into the south through Southern California with a lot of moisture. Another model will show a high pressure system building over the area. And then 3 hours later, they'll rerun the system and it'll show something totally different. They'll switch opposites, or they'll both agree for a few hours and switch. So once we start getting into later next week, we'll get a better eye. We'll have a little bit better of a idea of what these storm systems are going to do. But right now it does look kind of impressive where it's going to gain quite a bit, a little bit of energy, but a lot of cold air coming from that deep Gulf of Alaska. And you're going to watch it kind of drag down the coast from Canada all the way down from the Pacific Northwest, from Oregon. And then here it comes, drops down, and now it makes landfall in U-shape. Now, this model shows it making it almost deep into Southern California, but it kind of just shows it moving. 4 hours ago today, it showed this system dropping all the way down into Southern California and moving forward. So what we do here is we go over to the European model and we're going to rerun it. This is the ECMWF, not the GFS. And it looks a little bit different. This system can be oftentimes a little bit more accurate as what's going on. But as you can see, we have our low pressure system for the weekend here, and we're just going to do a full quick run through until we get to later on. So in the week, as you see, here's our system dropping down into California for Sunday, Monday, into March. And then we're going to keep going through the week all the way to the 4th, the 5th. And then this is Wednesday next week. This is system Wednesday next week. This shows a little bit more aggressive of a rain producer. As you can see, an atmospheric river developing down in this area. So we'll take a closer look at that in the other on the other website. And then it moves out, and we're out to the 6th. A couple hours ago, this allowed me to see all the way out to the 14th, so they're probably in the middle of rerunning some more models. So last but not least, we're going to switch over to the COD. Next Lab. This is one of my favorites. I can get a much closer look and kind of a more detailed look at some of the things that are interesting to me, like precipitation. Here is the same map. This is the GFS. So we kind of already saw what it's going to do. So we're just going to do a quick run through here. It's going to zip through. There goes our weekend low pressure system. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If we get a break, Friday. And then this shows a stronger system moving through next Tuesday, the 11th. Here's a high pressure, ridge of high pressure that builds over the Pacific West. That shows it wants to push our storms to the north for a little while. And then here comes the northerly storm. And see, this model shows it doing something totally different, just like I said, right? So we'll take a look at ECM, and that looks totally different too. So again, when we say models don't agree with each other, we're going to take a look at this should be our Monday. Yeah, Monday the 3rd, drop low, system moves in. Thursday the 6th, there's a lot of activity over to the north. Last time I checked this model a few hours ago, it shows that system staying to the north, but now several hours later, this looks much more impressive. So we're going to take a real close look at this in just a second here. So this is far out. This is going to be Monday, March 10th, so 2 Mondays for now. So the other model shows a storm developing in the far deep Gulf of Alaska. This model shows this system developing way off in the tropics, right? And then look at this big system here. California sits right over yonder and moves in with a ton of moisture and a lot of power, and quite possibly another big round behind it. So we're going to zoom in here and take a look more closely at Southern California. We're going to run it back real quick. That's that second round. And then we're going to rerun it. So a closer look at what we're going to see here. You can see the date here up in the top right. We'll just do a quick play. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's what I was interested in. So this is the system March 11th. Again, this is beyond the 7-day range, so this could change in the next hour, and it could change a lot in the next week, right? But we're going to keep an eye on it. But that is a lot of heavy moisture, a lot of heavy rain, kind of like what we saw about a week ago when we had the mudslides. And then it will be followed with a possible another strong system behind it. So something we like to look at, I like to look at is total precip accumulation. This is over This is over the entire 14-day period or 17-day period or whatnot. It shows us how much total precipitation we can expect through this model over the next, said days, right? So these are your precipitation totals up here to Northern California. The blue is a lot of rain, 6 to 7 inches up there. Down here between North Riverside County and over here by Banning Pass, San Bernardino County, 2, maybe 3 inches. 2, maybe 3 inches over LA County, over the burn scars or whatnot. But as you can see, a lot of that comes from those last 2 rounds of storms that it's showing now. Again, this has changed several times in the last couple days, and also just the last few hours. Can also look at total snow accumulation for the area. So total snow accumulation through the area. Obviously, is based off the temperatures that are associated with the storm system. Here is San Bernardino County. San Bernardino Mountains stretches right here. Wrightwood sits way on the corner over here. We sit right over here. We know between Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead, and then down here is San Jacinto Mountain District. So, and then this is all the High Sierra. This is where the nitty gritty happens up here with these storms. So we take a look in, and lots going on over here in the other western states, but we don't really care about that. We care about what affects us. So we'll just move in, and you see it accumulate more and more. So right now through the ECMWF, 28 inches probably at the highest peaks. San Gorgonio Mountains, San Gorgonio Peaks, probably over 7,000 feet, and things like that. So, and then we can look at the same thing on the GFS model. The GFS model shows a much more warmer storm trend, and it's much more conservative with the snow prediction. It actually shows very minimal to no snow over the next few days. However, that could possibly change. So last but not least, we're going to take a look at the 2 different forecasts that I follow. One is the National Weather Service. There is an app for this, and for the last 6 years that I have lived here and have given you guys your weather reports for the last 4 years, including Snowmageddon, this has been my most reliable source of forecast. It's real simple. Rain and snow likely between Sunday and Monday, 40%. Lake Arrowhead's a little bit warmer. It only goes about 7 days out. You can take a look at our higher elevation towns like Running Springs. You guys are going to get more snow because you're higher up. So we can try Green Valley Lake, California. Look at you guys, way up there in the stars, well above the clouds. Surprised it's still snowing since you're above the clouds. So your system is obviously much colder. It'll give you a quick little detailed description of what to expect within those days. And then you can look at the forecast discussion, which is the first thing that we opened up with. And then last but not least, I like to match that up with what we see on the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel also gives a pretty decent and accurate 10-day look. And it also gives you long-term snow predictions. So this is Running Springs. For Sunday night, for the bigger storm that's going to come in Sunday to Monday, 1 to 3 inches. Sunday day, possibly 1 to 3 inches. Tomorrow, pretty much nothing. It's just going to be cold and probably misty and stuff like that. So these are the high elevations. You can take a look at the rest of these on your own. You can just go to the Weather Channel. A lot of you guys can tap into this. Most of you that have Androids, specifically Samsungs, come with the Weather Channel app already installed, and that's what you see on your weather prediction on your main screen or whatnot. So you can actually click on that. It will take you directly to this website, and you can look at all of these things yourself on a daily basis. So that's about it. You guys have a good night. Stay warm, and hopefully Edison doesn't screw us over and shut our power off. VP Fire, out.